Hello there, and welcome to the Ask Time Film Podcast, where we talk film, TV, games, and all that jazz like there's no tomorrow. This week, we're talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. My name is Tom, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, John.
General Kenobi.
You are a bold one.
I'm doing great. Just cannot wait to talk about Kenobi. Very exciting. Very exciting.
Yes, me too. So, Kenobi, briefly explain the plot for those who don't know.
The Jedi Master contends with the consequences of his greatest defeat. The downfall and corruption is a one-time friend and apprentice, Anakin Skywalker, who turned to the dark side as evil Sith Lord Darth Vader.
Okay, so full spoilers for the show. If you haven't seen it, give it a watch. I liked it a lot. What did you think?
I loved it. It was great. Story-wise and great cast as well. And then there was so many emotions in this.
Emotions were riding high. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, it's somewhat controversial, really. You've got definitely different sides that I'm seeing on the internet. There's a side of people who are really loving it and a side of people who don't like it at all. And I think there's definitely something to be said about both sides of the argument. I literally just watched a video, which was 20 minutes of somebody just saying why they didn't like it. And I get it, I do, but I really enjoyed it, man. I think there's so much to chew on here in terms of the story. I think there's so much that they kind of expanded upon. This makes A New Hope a different experience. They have added a lot of layers into the story to the point where I think that this is essential viewing, for the main saga.
Yes, and I think it's a great bridge to A New Hope. There's a lot more emotions and character development as well. There's more interaction with Obi-Wan and Leia, and how that is going to be used in A New Hope. So yeah,
I mean, there were rumors before the show came out that they were going to do young Leia, and I remember seeing them and being like, that's a terrible idea. How do they do that? And genuinely, I thought that she was such a good part of the show. Vivien, Lyra, Blair, what an actor. She's so young and she did an amazing job. She really embodied, the feistiness and the sarcasm of Leia. I thought that all of her scenes were so well done. And, the fact that she is, the point, the kind of linchpin that brings Obi-Wan back, brings him back to his connection to the Force with the light side. She is the catalyst that, makes him, this show is about him healing his connection with the Force, and she brings him that hope. Very, very literally, she is, the new hope that he needs. I mean, what did you think about her in the show?
It was very strange, but she was great. The actress, very talented, and it was strange because she has that very embodiment of Carrie Fisher. Everything that Leia was like, and it was quite emotional. But what she was like, because it's A New Hope. It's a catalyst for Obi-Wan to help Leia and Luke in that film, and it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you're right. I mean, if Carrie Fisher was alive, I'm sure she would be loving it. I think the actor did such a good job. And in that first episode, when we cut to Alderaan, I mean, it's great to see Alderaan as well. Alderaan, from before this, we literally had a couple of shots in Revenge of the Sith, and then it blows up in A New Hope. But here we get to explore it a little bit. We get to see the kind of society that that Leia lives in, and we don't get to see the full planet, but we get to see a lot more of it visually. We get to explore Bail and Breha Organa. So cool. What I love so much in the first episode is Bail Organa. What a guy. Jimmy Smits. I love him so much. It was so good to see him. And what I loved is the questions that he poses to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is a wreck at the beginning of this show. He doesn't want anything to do with anyone, and he hides behind his mission. He hides behind, I need to save the boy. And Bail says so bluntly, this isn't about the boy and you know it. You're hiding behind this. Leia is just as important, and you don't have the guts. You are so broken, and you're not going to go out there to save her. And I feel like the journey in that first episode that brings Obi-Wan out of hiding is so well done.
Yeah, and the first episode, there's so many emotions. Emotion is going to be number one word I'm going to keep saying, but it's really heartbreaking to see Kenobi as a wreck. He tries to hide away from the Empire, and he does not help other people, and he's completely lost hope. And the really sad bit was when he had a nightmare or the flashback to Anakin dying, and then to all the students or Order 66. And he wakes up and then he tries to talk to Qui-Gon, and man, he wasn't there. that sets up the idea of like Kenobi's arc for the show, how he's gonna, redeem himself and how he's gonna be back on the path of the Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that get it in quite a few episodes. Obi-Wan, he tries to talk to Qui-Gon. He tries to kind of get him to help him. He is, he is kind of falling back on what he knows to try and like help him feel better. But what he has to do eventually is, Qui-Gon isn't the person who takes him out of it. He has to do that himself. And as I said, through Leia and all the different people he meets, he finds that hope and he finds that connection to the Force. And obviously Qui-Gon is then in it at the end. And what I love so much about that is obviously we all want to see Qui-Gon through the whole show. Like, obviously we do. But what I loved about it is he comes in and he's just like, I was always here, but you just couldn't see me. Like he's healed his connection to the Force. And, finally he can now he can move forward without the baggage. I mean, you think about where Obi-Wan is mentally at the end of Revenge of the Sith and then where he is in A New Hope. In A New Hope, he's so happy. It's as if the prequels never happened. But here we see that no, he was weighed down by the guilt of that so much. And there are some really great moments, like in episode 5, when Reva is talking to Obi-Wan from behind the door, and she says, "Where were you? Your literal Padawan killed us all, and where are you? What were you doing?" And obviously Obi-Wan had his own problems, but we see that guilt weighs on him. She even says, like, would you really kill Anakin? And he doesn't even know. And when he comes to it, when in that final episode, when he sees Anakin's face beneath the Vader's helmet, he just breaks down and he just says, "I'm sorry." That's like all he can do. And Anakin's like, "I don't need your pity. You didn't do this." Or Vader, should I say, says, "I killed Anakin." And Obi-Wan in that moment realizes there's nothing he could have done. There's almost an inevitability about it. Obi-Wan, he lets go of that grief. And, it's through that Qui-Gon comes back and is like, "Now you're ready. Now that you've fully realized, that is almost the Jedi way, not the Jedi way of the prequels, but the true Jedi way is, to regain that hope and use it to help people, and move beyond your mistakes of the past."
Yeah, and that's a fantastic arc for Kenobi, like what he's been through, and then he tries to regain with the Force. And I completely agree, like when he broke down, when he was like, "I'm sorry, Anakin," and then Darth Vader says, he was like, "Anakin is no more." I don't know the full quote, but it was like very heartbreaking. And then the other thing that was reinforcing that depressing vibe was the voice changer, like it was changing to Anakin and then Darth Vader's voice, and it was like, oh my god, how much grief has engulfed Kenobi throughout, and then he finally lets that go and he says, "I'm sorry," and then wow.
And in those final moments he accepts it and he calls him Darth because he realizes this Anakin is no more. There's nothing that I could do, nothing that I could have done. Like he has turned and it's too late, and there's no point in me dwelling on that. And I love that. It's very similar to something that happens in Rebels in season 2, but we have so much more time to kind of sit with that. And obviously this show, it brought back Hayden Christensen. I do think the marketing, my god, the marketing really did it dirty. It made it seem like he was going to be in it a lot more than he was, but he was used well in the time that he was given. Like, obviously, same with Qui-Gon. We all wanted more of Anakin. We all wanted more of Hayden Christensen. But the moments that he was in had such an impact. At the end of episode 2, when Obi-Wan finds out about Anakin, and literally he just whispers his name, and then we just smash cut to Vader's eyes opening in the back tank. Beautiful, absolutely incredible, spine chilling. The fact that we had to wait like 5 days after that. I mean, I was like, what? Like, amazing, so well done. And the flashbacks in episode 5, and as we said, like the ending, just really, really well done.
That episode was amazing. Like the flashbacks are used so well. Seeing the end game from Anakin's point of view and then Obi-Wan's point of view, it's like a game of chess, like how are they going to defeat one another? And then the episodes conclude very well with a flashback saying something about Mercy. And then that sets the whole idea for the other rest of the characters. Like Mercy is like the whole idea for the Jedi, and is a thing for Reva's character, like Mercy, and she doesn't kill Luke.
I want to come back to Reva, but I do think that, that flashback, we didn't need, obviously, again, everybody wanted there to be flashbacks the whole time. I wanted that, you wanted that, we all wanted it. But it was so clever to just have that flashbacks in that one episode, because it tells us so much about the characters. It shows, like, very plainly and simply that Anakin Vader, he has not changed. Vader's whole time, he still thinks he can win by this brute force. But Obi-Wan, as he says in A New Hope, there are alternatives to fighting. There are other ways to fight. What you're saying with mercy can defeat the enemy. The way that like Obi-Wan knows how Vader will work, exactly, and plays to that. And at the end, he doesn't strike him down when Vader is very much at Obi-Wan's mercy. But again, Obi-Wan shows, he doesn't kill him. He just leaves him because he knows that killing him won't do anyone any favors apart from the wider galaxy, because Vader's a tyrannical, genocidal maniac. But seriously, like, he just leaves him. And I feel like we get that kind of, as you said, let's talk about Reva. With that at the end, she realizes that there is no point in all the anger, and she lets it go. And, wherever we see Reva next, whether she gets her own TV show or whether she's in Andor or anything like that, Reva's arc, I think, was another really strong point of the show. And before we move on any further, the people who were giving Moses Ingram so much hate was disgusting and horrible, and she was incredible in the role, and she was so awesome. And I feel like the racism in the Star Wars fandom, it shouldn't be there at all. And the fact that it's happening again and again, like, it's just disgusting. People really need to stop.
Yeah. And there was a great video of Ewan McGregor talking about this, about Reva. She is an excellent actress, and she does not deserve all the hate. Don't be like that. Just don't be racist. Be kind to one another. Like, this is an actress, and it's disgusting. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, Star Wars is all about acceptance and fighting evil. That's the kind of thing that the good Star Wars fans should not tolerate. And those who are perpetuating this hatred, you really have no place here. But let's talk about Reva. I mean, like, what did you think of her arc throughout the show?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's very strong. Like, from the very start, you can definitely tell that she doesn't want to serve the Grand Inquisitor. Great character, by the way.
Oh my God, the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we'll talk about him in a bit. But
we'll talk about him. Great line from him. There is.
Yeah.
And Reva, she's been through a lot. Like, everything from the start of Order 66. That has been like a drive for her to like kill Anakin, but then with Darth Vader, she's like using all that hatred and using on that to like express how she feels, and she tries to be merciful at the end. She tries to work with Kenobi, but she rejects because she felt betrayed in Order 66. And there was a great opening shot for it in Episode 1. It shows Order 66, and it was a great one take. Yeah, I think it was a one take. Yeah,
it was a one take. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was great, and it definitely showed us the horrors of Order 66. And she has this arc, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a really interesting perspective. Like, we're following a youngling who, because of everything that went down in Order 66, they've had nowhere left to go but be consumed by their fear and anger. Yoda says it in The Empire Strikes Back. The dark side isn't stronger, but of course it's easier. It's so easy just to fall back into your anger. And that's the whole thing of Star Wars, right? Like, being able to move beyond that and, be stronger by being better, by being good. And I think that Reva, she just perpetuates that whole notion because she has fallen so hard. Like, she wants to rise up the ranks so she can, hunt Vader and eventually kill him. And, you see that there's so much torment, within her, because she feels so betrayed by everyone. She feels the only way is to get vengeance, to get justice, her own twisted version of justice. And what I love so much about that is she tries to defeat Vader. And there's that amazing scene where she fights Vader and she doesn't even come close. He is just batting her around. He doesn't even get how it is lightsaber. He literally he even uses hers, and like, he slows down the Inquisitor blade as it spins, and he stabs her. And in that moment, she's that child again. He even calls her youngling. And in the final act of revenge, this revenge that keeps her alive even after this grievous injury, the anger that kept her alive the first time is keeping her alive again. And she literally, she uses it and she tries to kill Luke. It doesn't matter that we know that Luke won't die, but genuinely, for her character, the fact that she chooses not to, and she cries to Obi-Wan and she says, "Am I just like him?" And he's like, "No, you're not, because you came back. You know that the right thing to do." And finally, they didn't redeem a dark side character and then kill them off straight away. We've seen it so many times with Vader, with Kylo Ren, with Ventress, and it's so good that whatever they do with her next, she gets to now atone for these actions, and there are opportunities to explore her further down the line. But yeah, just again, just really solid character work, I thought.
Yeah, and I really like that. Should we get onto Grand Inquisitor?
Hello, third sister. The
Wait,
Jedi
what?
code is like an itch. I love him. I love him so much.
I got a question about that, about
Go
like
on.
third and fifth
Oh yes.
brothers and sisters. What's
Yeah.
the deal with that?
I don't know. Nobody
Oh.
knows, but I think so. We know of a 10th brother. I think that what it is the Grand Inquisitor is the first one, and then after that we count up, but it's brothers and sisters. So we got the second. So the Grand Inquisitor is number 1, and then again, this is speculation. So people watching, please don't take this as gospel. This is just my own like headcanon over here. But I think Grand Inquisitor's 1, and then second sister, who is in Jedi Fallen Order, that's 2, and then third sister, fourth sister, and then fifth brother, and then I don't know who's next, and then sixth brother or sister, and then seventh sister, eighth brother, ninth sister, and then 10th brother. I think that's how it goes, but there might be crossovers. I'm not sure. But the point is they're all fallen Jedi who now serve in the ranks of the Inquisitors. They're in Fallen Order, they're in Rebels, they're in Kenobi. I do have to say, in this show, obviously we have Reva, the third sister. We also have the Grand Inquisitor. We also have the fifth brother and the fourth sister. I don't really know why they're here. They don't do anything really. The fifth brother has a little bit to do, but it's not that interesting. I kind of feel like the show could have maybe utilized them a little bit better. In episode 4, we go to the Fortress Inquisitorius, straight from Fallen Order. Any Fallen Order fans, that was a great episode for us. Just great to see all these different things from the show and appropriated in different ways. But why didn't we have them encounter Kenobi? That could have been fun. That could have been cool. I don't really know why they didn't do that, but they should have.
Yeah, but Grand Inquisitor, that was great. How about a guy? Revenge does wonders for the will of living. Great line.
I love him. I love it. Honestly, those who have watched Rebels will know that Grand Inquisitor looks very different. And when we saw him in the trailer, we were all like, what is that? Who are you? This is wrong. And Rupert Friend, so much respect. What a guy. His performance made me turn around on that. And now I love him so much. And I can appreciate both versions of the Grand Inquisitor. But oh my God, he's brilliant. He's so good. Every line. Third sister, I can stand your incompetence no longer. Like, brilliant. And the whole way that he works into Reva's arc as well is so cool.
Oh my God. And it was great for like him just antagonizing Reva. So as you said, it's a great step for the character arc. He's this like top guy for Vader, just like, yes, the third sister. He's trying to get his place. Like,
she's a maverick.
Oh my God. It could be Top Gun.
Whoa.
Bro, like there's a growing competition between like Reva and Grand Inquisitor. Just like, no, I want to be next in line for Vader. No. It's great.
It's just cool when you get things from animation and video games and they put them into live action. That's just fun at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh, the score. Oh, yeah.
Ooh-hoo.
The score.
Ooh-hoo. I got things to say about the score.
Good things? Bad things?
Both.
I might be an idiot for asking this, but was Duel of the Fates playing?
No.
No. Because I thought my brain at the same time, I thought my brain was saying it's Duel of the Fates. No, it can't be. There's got to be more people singing. But no, it was just an off version.
It was similar you're talking about the final fight with Vader and Obi-Wan, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, the score is done by Natalie Holt, who did Loki. And we also have an Obi-Wan theme done by John Williams. And I think that the main theme of the show is really cool. And there's a lot of really nice compositions done by Natalie Holt. But the music in this show, for some reason, is very, very adverse to having any classic themes. And there's a moment in the final episode, there's a couple of them actually. So Vader speaks to Palpatine at the end. You kind of get the ending of Vader's arc where he's still hell-bent on getting Kenobi, and Palpatine just says, this is a bit of a weakness for you. And Vader realizes, oh no, well, we can't have that. And, he kind of lets it go. And, Palpatine knows that he's got Vader in the palm of his hand. He can do whatever he wants with it. Love that. But we pan out and they play the Imperial March. It's the only time they play the Imperial March in the show. Now, the show... That's right. That's the Imperial March. But it feels like what the composer is doing is kind of saying like, Vader has now earned the Imperial March. Like his arc is complete, and now we play the Imperial March. But that doesn't make any sense because the Imperial March was all over the prequels. Why just now are you playing it? Same thing with Leia's theme. In the final scene with Leia, and hey, I think Leia's theme is the most beautiful piece in all of Star Wars, and it makes me so sad every time, like to the point where like I just felt like I was gonna cry when I heard it. When Obi-Wan kneels down and he says, Princess Leia Organa, you are this and this, and you got this from your mother, but you're also this and this, and you got this from your father, and they are two of the best people I've ever known. And it's whoo, whoo, and they play the Leia theme. And again, it's like, this is Princess Leia now. Leia has earned the Leia theme, but they played the Leia theme at the end of Revenge of the Sith. It's weird. It's just weird. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I think the music could definitely have a bit of pizzazz. But on the subject of Duel of the Fates, I'm going to talk about why that's a bit weird. So they played Duel of the Fates in the trailer. Obviously, everyone remembers. It was great.
Yeah.
But they didn't play it in the movie. This is they did this the same thing with Rise of Skywalker. They put Duel of the Fates in the trailer and it wasn't in the movie. Now, I think that genuinely it shouldn't be in the show because in the prequels, Duel of the Fates plays in every single film. And each time it symbolizes a moment where Anakin's fate is in the balance. In episode 1, it plays during the fight at the end because this is the fate of who is going to train Anakin. If Qui-Gon trains Anakin, Anakin's fate will go a lot better than Obi-Wan training Anakin. Obviously, Qui-Gon dies and Obi-Wan becomes the person to do it. In episode 2, Anakin goes to find his mother and Duel of the Fates plays again because if Anakin's mum dies, his fate becomes even darker, and obviously she does die, and that's a big moment for him becoming more into the dark side. And then finally, in episode 3, they play Duel of the Fates one more time during the Anakin, Obi-Wan, Sidious, Yoda fight to show that this is the final stage. If Obi-Wan or Yoda fail, then Anakin has fallen for good. And I think that it doesn't work thematically in this show because Anakin's already fallen. He proves again and again there's nothing left for him to grasp. Obi-Wan even sees and he thinks to himself, oh my God, Anakin. But Vader proves, no. Anakin's dead. I killed him. The only person who can bring him back is Luke or Leia. And I don't think that, therefore, it should have been played. And I'm happy they didn't play it, actually. They should have played Battle of Heroes instead.
Yes. There was a long discussion. I was just like trying to catch up.
I'm sorry. I've got so much Star Wars inside of me. I could genuinely do this forever.
Okay, I'll talk going back to like that score with like Leia and Obi-Wan talking about her parents. And before that, there was a joke that Leia said, like, you should get more sleep. And that laugh that Obi-Wan did, that was just wholesome. Just like
it was
seeing
very
him,
wholesome, wasn't it?
Yeah. You don't get to hear like Obi-Wan smiling or laughing. And that moment was like, sparking for the idea of hope. That hope was beginning back into Star Wars at that time.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah. Princess Leia, she is the beacon of hope in Star Wars. She's the best. There are so many great moments in Star Wars that I associate with her. But the final thing that I want to talk about is the way the show looks.
Yeah.
It doesn't look very good.
There's a lot of very awkward shots.
Absolutely. This show is a TV budget and it shows, man. Like, there's a lot of shaky cam, which really does a disservice to the action because there's a lot of good, proper like Jason Bourne levels. And there's a lot of good action, a lot of some really good choreography and some really nice stuff, some good callbacks, just some really good, but it's not shot with the same pizzazz. It's not given the same gravitas that the prequels especially gave it. The locations are really boring. They're all deserts and just barren wastelands. The most interesting one is in episode 2, but obviously this is one episode. They really don't do anything with the locations. You think about the last time that Obi-Wan and Anakin fought, it was on Mustafar. There was lava everywhere. It was a place that was infested with anger. And this time they fight with some rocks. Cool. The lighting was so strange. Like they had just the lightsabers be the only source of light. It doesn't work. And I just feel like for a show that brings back Ewan McGregor, who does an amazing job. It brings back Hayden Christensen, who does an amazing job. It gives us a young Leia, amazing. It gives us so many different things, so many different incredible stories. And I think the writing in the show is amazing. But I think it's really let down by the way that it's shot, because that has a knock-on effect to the action. And I just don't think it's ultimately very impactful, and it could have been a lot more impactful if those elements were properly done right.
Yeah, there was a lot of very awkward shots. But anyway, we got some good action at the fight between Vader and Obi-Wan. That was great. I really liked that. Yeah. Right.
What are you going to give Obi-Wan Kenobi out of 10?
8.
I agree. A solid 8. I'm happy. I really am. I think it's exactly, in terms of the writing, it's what it had, it's what it needed to be, you know? Like,
yeah,
it's not perfect, but I'm satisfied.
Yeah, great show. Watch it. Recommend it.
And to the people who didn't like it, I have to say, give it a second watch. Every week, I talked about this a little bit last week, but every week with an episode, I'd watch it once and be like, yeah, that was okay. And then I watch it a second time, and with my expectations removed, I liked it a lot more. And I could really focus on the character moments, and the episodes, they go quicker when you watch it a second time. I can't explain it, but it's true. And then I watched it a third time each week. I've watched every episode apart from the finale 3 times. And the third time is where it all clicks into place, and I get what they're going for. I get what they're getting at. And it's not perfect, but I think it's a lot better. And I think, a lot of people didn't like it. Give it a second shot. If you still don't like it, fine. But I hope that listening to us talk about it, you can find something better that you liked about it.
Find something new every time you watch it. There you go.
Absolutely. Woo! Kenobi, done.
Tick.
It's over. We'll see you for Andor in many months. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you enjoyed it, give it a big like and subscribe if you want to see more. We've done other Star Wars content. We did Book of Boba Fett. We did Mandalorian Season 2, Bad Batch. I wish we could do more Star Wars content, but frankly, there's a lot of stuff that we do. And comment below. Tell us what your thoughts are, or give us an email at ourtimefilmpod@gmail.com. Tell us what your thoughts. Ask us some questions about anything. Tell us why we're wrong, or just give us some regular Star Wars questions, and we will answer them right here on the podcast. And you can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OurTimeFilmPod. There's a lot of me on Twitter being like, actually, Kenobi's better than people say. That's me. I'm that guy. People probably hate me.
Well, anyway,
I see you.
Oh no, he found out. Thank you for listening. We thoroughly enjoyed Kenobi. Do watch it. It's great if you want to get into Star Wars content or something like that. It's been a pleasure. Be good and be kind.
Absolutely. And next week we're doing Thor: Love and Thunder. Yay! Oh God.
Yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder. Oh boy. Great. Take what you give in.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.